Okay, so welcome back to Darktide. I've done a couple of videos for this game in the past. When it first launched, I had a load of problems with the game, but now the game is working for me, and this game is a lot of fun. So what we're going to do in this video is go through a beginner's guide. I'm going to give you tips and tricks so that you better understand the game, and just understand the mechanics and stuff and exactly how things work. So the moment you get in, you'll have to create your character. I went with a veteran, and each character basically has like different ways they work. So for an example, my character has infantry guns, las guns, combat axes, swords, and things like that. Whereas you'll get big dudes like this character over here who's an Ogrin, and the Ogrin will have like big clubs, you'll have like ripper guns, grenade launchers, and when you build your character up as you get further into the game, you'll start like branching off into your own builds and exactly how you want to play. I've seen a lot of Ogrins that have these, they're basically like perks, they're called curios. They have them that are set up to give you extra max health, so you can be a big tank when you're using the Ogrin class. So each class is going to have its own functions when you're playing. But the moment you get in, there'll be tutorials and things like that. And then you'll be brought to this like central hub area. And right in front of us is the mission terminal, that big green glow in the background. But before you get into that, there's a trust level, so your character level, you'll see at the bottom left, I'm level 18. As you build that up, you unlock more things to do. That includes the difficulty you're playing on, and it also includes things like the Armory, the Shrine of the Omnos. So if we start off with the mission terminal, I'll explain that first. You've got penances over here, which are like little challenges you can do, and they will unlock like different skins and like just like cosmetics to change the way your character looks and stuff. So if we go to the mission terminal, we jump over here and we view it, you're going to see here, it looks a little bit confusing at first, but you've got your threat level, so your difficulty here, it goes from 1 through 5, and yeah, the difficulty is quite tough in this game. I would work on trying to improve your build before rushing to do a higher difficulty. But you'll see the colours on the threat level here. So for an example, this one, if you play this, would be difficulty level 4. This one would be 5. These down here at the bottom left are 1, and then you've got 2 down here as well. But what I always do is I always do quick play, whether that's playing with randoms, playing with friends, because if you have a look here, reward upon completion, it chucks you into a random one based on that difficulty. So if you set it as a difficulty level 1, you're playing at difficulty level 1, you've got, like, it's basically going to put you into one of these random missions, but you're going to get extra XP, diamantine, auto dockets, and plasteel. And all of those, besides the experience, are your currencies in the game. And then I'm not at that stage yet, but once you get to level 30, you can do the auric levels, and it looks as though those start on difficulty level 4, and you can only do 4 and 5. But if we have a look at these levels, you are going to see a timer at the top. So this has got just under 2 minutes left, and basically these missions are not always the same. Each time one of the timers goes, so you'll see like here, there's another one that's going to run out of 50 seconds. It will replace itself with a different mission. So the missions in the game, they have different styles. You'll see like the primary objective here is a raid. Then you've got espionage, you've got other raids, assassinations and stuff. They are all on timers, they all rotate, so you're going to always be playing something different. It might be on the same map, but there might be a little bit of a different layout. So I found there's the same map, but you have multiple different variants of that map, because one of them you'll have to use an elevator to go down to a lower floor. Other times you'll be led through doors and stuff, which will lead you to the top of that elevator shaft, but you'll never have to use the elevator in the run. So this is your mission terminal. This is where everything starts. And you can see at the bottom right, you have to be in a strike team to play private games, so you can just change it to public. You can matchmake and play with other players. Players in this game, the community is fantastic. They're really, really helpful. If you make mistakes and stuff, people don't typically moan at you. They just give you guidance and just help you understand the game better. Because when it comes to an enemy like the Demon Host, you don't want to set them off because they are incredibly tough to deal with. But then once you do start leveling up, you go through that trust level and stuff, you are going to unlock different parts of this hub. So if we go through here, so basically you're going to start this long corridor here where all the penances are. And then when you finish a mission, you're going to start up on this platform over here. And it doesn't matter if you die during the mission or you complete it. It's just about actually doing the mission. So round here, we have the Shrine of the Omnos. Now this part, I would not bother with this until you are level 30. if we go into this, you'll see that you can consecrate, you can refine your items, re-bless, and you can earn blessings. So if we, for an example, go to my guns, I've got an infantry auto gun. If I was to consecrate it, it's going to upgrade it to purple rarity. It upgrades the rating a little bit, but it doesn't do much else. It just gives you a new perk. And you're going to be using so much currency. You'll see it uses 67 diamantine, 213 plasteel. And while I do have enough, it's just a complete waste before you are level 30. Because once you get to level 30, you're going to start needing to actually refine your build and make it as strong as you can. Like, start min-maxing, basically, so that you have a better time surviving on the higher difficulties, because that rating and that perk don't really make that much of a difference. You might get, like, for an example, if it's a tier 1 perk, you might get 5% damage to a certain enemy type, but it's not going to be that much of a difference, and it's really, really expensive the higher the rarity you go. So with your currency, save it until you are level 30. Maybe with the auto dockets, your gold coins essentially. Maybe spend some of those to buy a new weapon. Like, for an example, the Emperor gifts you a las gun, you don't like it. Go to the armory, buy yourself a new gun to use that in the missions instead. But your diamantine, your plasteel, save it until you are level 30. You really don't want to be spending it, because when you're level 30, that's where your build really, really starts. So coming over here, we have the Armory Exchange, and like, this isn't going to be available when you first start playing the game. You're going to have to level up a little bit first. But if we go into the requisition weapons and curios, you can see that you can use your gold coins, you can buy different weapons and stuff, and they've all got different ratings, different perks and things like that. Like here, for an example, I've got an assault chainsword available. It's going to cost 8,000 gold. I'm just going to call it gold for the sake of it. And you'll see the modifiers and stuff as well. It's got a perk, tier 2, 15% damage to maniacs. It might be helpful if you like running the missions where there are maniac enemies and they spawn in like big numbers. But you'll even get things like here, you'll see a curio is going to give 2% max stamina. Or there's one here that gives +1 wound. And then you get to the different rarity, things become more expensive. Like this braced auto gun, it's going to cost you over 10 grand. So you might want to buy a new weapon to try it out. And that's fine, because you earn quite a lot of these gold coins. But I wouldn't buy too many different guns and just keep trying new stuff all the time. Especially because once you do complete a mission in this game, if you have completed the mission, you haven't died during it, you will be given a gift from the Emperor, which is going to be a new gun or a new melee weapon. And there are even some perks or blessings that go on to, I think it's mainly your curios. It'll give you like a 5% chance to earn a curio at the end of a mission run instead of a weapon. So you have the armory that's available, or if you wanted to, you can go into Brunt's armory, and when you're in here, you can pick a weapon of your choice that you want to basically buy. So it's going to be randomly rolled and everything like that. But for an example, we have, like here, we've got the Mark 8 braced auto gun. That's only going to cost 6,000. You're going to get a random rating and everything like that. It just lets you choose what you want to buy instead. But then if we back out of the armory and we keep going around, we're going to come to Sire Melk's Requisitorium. And if we come in here, these are going to be your weekly contracts. You'll see that I've made progress on most of them. Well, all of them, in fact. And you can replace them. They are going to cost to replace. The first one of the week, I believe, is free. Then it's going to start costing every time after. But once you have done these, you're going to earn this other currency. And with this other currency, you can buy really, really powerful stuff. So it's important to pay attention to the weeklies as well. So if I complete 6 missions with no player deaths, I kill 4 monstrosities, which works as a team. You don't actually need to be the killer. But if I personally kill 1,000 dregs with ranged, I collect 200 diamantine and kill 750 scab with ranged, I'm going to get all of that currency for each of those, and then I'm going to get the completion reward as well. And if we go into the limited time acquisitions, you are going to see there are sometimes transcendents, which are orange, essentially legendaries. But for some reason, I do have one for a curio. But sometimes this can give you really good guns, and you'll see the rating is really, really high. Because this braced auto gun, it might only be purple, but it's a 326. And that 326, if we have a look, the mystery acquisitions, you can just get an unknown, just like, it's cheap, you can just get something at random. It's like worth taking the risk sometimes. Obviously, sometimes it's not going to be. But with that 326 purple, if we go to my gear, you'll see that mine's sitting around 200, so the rating is much better on that stuff. But I would wait until, because it resets the gear, I believe it's midnight. If we go into the acquisitions, 10 hours, 51 minutes. So every single midnight, is going to reset this stuff. It's going to refresh this stuff in this store. And on top of that, the Armory Exchange, that stuff will refresh every now and then as well. But going into the war gear now, because that's pretty much everything, at least what I've found in this like central hub. If we go into my war gear, I've got a power sword, which is 233. And then I've also got a braced auto gun, which is 229. I've got 2 curios active, both are giving me toughness. So toughness is essentially your shield, it's like your blue bar above your health. So I'm getting an extra 22% from my curios, but then I've also got damage resistance from snipers, and snipers really hurt in this game. But I've also got combat ability regeneration. So you're getting perks, you're getting blessings, you're getting buffs on your character for just playing the game more and leveling up. But if we have a look at the braced auto gun, it's redeemed quality, so it's green. You'll see it's got 61 rounds in the mag, 477 in reserves. The ammo counts differ drastically with weapons. You'll have some of them, which, for an example, I had one the other day. It had like 30 something rounds in the mag, or maybe even 40, but it had like 360 reserves. And then I've had some which have like a 50 odd round mag and over 600 reserves. Some of them have really, really high capacity magazines. But you'll see that it says torrent, high capacity, 120, 120. You've got bash. And then the modifiers, you've got damage, mobility, stability, ammo, collateral. You want to try and get these as high as they can possibly go. But then you'll also get the perks, like I've got 6% range damage to elites there for a tier 2 perk. So if we actually click on this and we go into inspect, it's going to explain every single little thing to you. So you've got your ammo count there, you've got the rate of fire, reload, stamina. Then it tells you exactly what these are, so torrent and high capacity. This is ideal for mowing down hordes of enemies and controlling large areas of the combat arena with weight of fire. And then you've got high capacity, a ranged weapon with increased ammo capacity. So really, really good if you're like finding that you're using a lot of your ammo. And then it explains here, all weapons of a specific mark, so the MK, have the same base behavior. However, each weapon gets 5 bonus stats that work as multipliers, making the weapon stronger or weaker than other weapons of the same mark. So basically, it's your stats. This is a 229 rating, but it's got 51% damage, 37% mobility, 50% stability, 39% ammo, 37% collateral. And sometimes this changes. So if you hover over it, you can see exactly what that does. The 51% damage. Damage versus unarmored when they're near is 100%. Damage versus the infested when they're far away is 75%. They've all got different percentages, and it's going to tell you what each one of them does. But instead of collateral, sometimes you might get stopping power or something like that. It differs on every single weapon drop that you get. But not only that, on the right-hand side, it tells you what bash is. Use the firearm to attack your enemy in close combat. You can get torches, so lights on your gun. You can get bayonets. You can get a different way to fire the gun. There's lots of different special actions you can get. And I can't remember which key it is on PC by default, but I've changed it so that my special action is like one of my mouse buttons, just to make it easier to access the special action on the weapons. But then you've got the primary and the secondary action themselves. You've got braced fully automatic, hipfire fully automatic. And you have different types of guns. You've got these auto guns, which are like assault rifles. You've got las guns, which are laser guns. You have to charge them up. I personally hate the laser guns in this game, or the las guns. But you'll see here, 51% damage on this braced auto gun. And it's only 47% on this infantry auto gun. And then you've got mobility there, which is 37 to 49. Stability is only a little bit different. Ammo is quite drastically different. So you'll see a 45 round mag, 360 reserves. A 61 round mag, 477 reserves. And this one's got collateral at 37. This one has stopping power at 40%. But you'll also see, because this is blue, this has got a blessing, 5% power for 3.5 seconds on a close range kill. And that adds to the rating, so that blessing gives this gun an extra 25 rating. And then if we inspect this one quickly, you'll see it's got a 10 rate of fire instead of 11.11. The reload's different, and it's a ranged weapon that sacrifices accuracy for a high rate of fire. And precise, it's got improved aim, rewarding careful selection of targets and ammo-efficient shots. And then if we hover over stopping power, you've got like damage versus maniacs, far is 76%. You've got damage versus flak armored when they're far is 47%, when they're near is 57%. And you'll see that this has a torch on the gun, so it's useful for when you're in dark areas. I don't really like the torch, but it's a special action on a gun. It is what it is. So you've got your primary weapon, you've got your secondary, you've got your curios, which give you things like toughness, max health, extra wound, and things like that. You've got your cosmetics, if you want to change how your character looks. Then you've also got a talent tree, and there was an update in the game recently. the Traitor update, I think it was called. It added in a new Carnival zone, and it's also added in the Keystones for the Veteran. So I was a little bit confused on difficulty 2, which we're easily clearing as a team. I got confused because we died within a matter of seconds. I realised that the talent tree, when they released the update, was reset. So just before you jump into the game on like a new day or something, check that your talents are all still there. But you are going to get really, really good buffs when it comes to your talent tree. It's all just about choosing which way you want to go, because, for an example, once I've chosen the Shredder Frag Grenade, I can't go down the Crack Grenade or the Smoke Grenade route. But from here, where you've got the range damage boost, I can go along to these. So you're just going to get a different choice for things like your aura. You're going to get choices for your blitz, and you can only have one. And the same for your ability as well. And on the Veteran, I really, really like this ability, Voice of Command, because your toughness, which is your blue bar, your shield, it replenishes that and it staggers all enemies within 9 meters with a 30-second cooldown. But then if you come here to the modifier for it, it now also provides you and your allies that are in coherency with plus 50 toughness for 15 seconds. And it can exceed your maximum toughness. So you're getting like overkill on your toughness. It's going to help with your survivability when it comes to running missions. But you get lots of cool stuff in this, like I can replenish 5% of my toughness per second when there's no enemies within 8 meters, so a lot faster regen on my toughness. I've then got things like dealing up to plus 20% ranged base damage. It's reduced the nearer the target. To pay attention to your talent tree and like try and get the build the exact way you want it. I'm going for like a survivability / DPS sort of build. I'm trying to work towards it. But obviously being level 18, I don't have my build set up fully. I need to get to level 30, then start using the Omnos, like the shrine, so that I can like refine my weapons and stuff and make them even better. So now what I've done is I've put some gameplay in the background of me, Pete and Lewis playing together. We always just run difficulty 2 because it's the difficulty we can clear comfortably, and difficulty 3 at the moment is a little bit of a push. We need to level up a bit more and get better weapons and stuff. But we don't do any of that through the Shrine of the Omnos. We don't add perks and blessings and stuff. We're saving that currency, and we don't often use the Armory either. So what you do is you start the mission, like all missions are essentially the same in terms of when you start, you don't have any guidance on where to go. You just got to roam around and explore and find progression within the missions. It's not difficult. The devs have done a really, really good job with the layout of the levels. But you have different objectives. You might have a servo skull. You need to like scan things in the area and upload the data to the skull. You might have these terminals that you essentially need to hack and you have to wait in the area for. You have these little objectives that you need to do as you are progressing through the missions. But I highly recommend that you check all the different rooms that are available, because you might have this main area with a load of like shut doors that you can open. To say you're in a marketplace and there's a load of houses, open those doors and look in there, because you're going to find these crates or these chests as you're progressing through. They'll give you things like medical crates, ammo crates. You'll get ammo stashes, which is a decent amount of ammo. You'll get little ammo tins. You'll get grenades and everything like that. Plus, you can also find the currencies. You can find plasteel and you can find diamantine, which are really, really important for when it comes to sorting your build out when you're level 30. So make sure that you are checking every single corner. The levels are not too big. On average, checking most of the corners in the level, it takes about 20 to 25 minutes per run for me, Pete and Lewis. But whilst you're doing these objectives, you're also going to have monstrosities, which are like plague ogrins. You've got chaos spawns. You've got beast of Nurgles. There's a few different monstrosities and they are fun. They're like mini bosses halfway through. And then at the end of the levels, you're going to have different objectives to do as well. Some of them might be holding out an area. Some of them might be taking down a boss. It's entirely different every single time you play. Obviously, there's going to be some levels that you've already done before if you've played a little bit. But that's where the timer comes in for the mission, because even if you're doing quick play, it's only going to give you one of the missions that's available in that mission terminal at the time. So as you're playing, the time's passing. When you come out and go into another mission, there's a small chance it's going to give you the same one, but it rarely ever happens. And there's just so much to do in this game, from leveling your characters to sorting out your builds to running missions and increasing in difficulty. It's a really, really good experience. But at the end of a mission, if you die, you're just going to get, like, you're basically going to get reduced rewards. You'll get a little bit of XP instead of the full amount. Whereas if you complete a mission, you get to the extraction, you extract out of the mission, you get mission complete. You're going to get the full rewards for that mission. And obviously that increases the higher the difficulty, but obviously the higher the difficulty, the harder it is. So you might want to just farm levels and stuff on a lower difficulty to start out with. But when you do complete a mission, you're going to get a gift from the Emperor every single run. And sometimes this Emperor is a bit of an asshole. It gives you really, really bad drops, but sometimes you can get some really good ones. So I've had some blue rarities, I've had a lot of greens, I've had a load of grey rarities, which are the worst. And I've had some awful guns. I've had like 3 or 4 missions in a row that have given me a las gun, and I can't stand the las guns. But then I've had a couple of missions where I've been given auto guns, and they're the best thing I've used in the game. This game is heavily based on synergizing with your teams. If you're playing with randoms, it's obviously going to be a lot harder. But if you have a team of friends that you're playing with, it's going to be really easy to communicate with each other, sort your builds out so that you're helping each other survive. Because when me, Pete, and Lewis are playing together now, what we do is we have Pete running the Ogrin. He's the big tank. He's got really heavy hitting weapons and stuff. And then you've got me and Lewis, which have the ability that replenishes your toughness. And we've got the modifier on that does it for your allies as well. So we're keeping Pete alive whilst he's taking all the damage. I highly, highly recommend in this game you don't try playing as a lone wolf. Stick with your team because the coherency, staying together as a group is going to be way more beneficial than trying to run off like it's Call of Duty and doing stuff on your own. So get into some missions, complete the missions, get your Emperor's gifts. If you're getting fed up with the weapons, go to the Armory, try a new one. Make sure you're paying attention to your weekly contracts, playing on a difficulty that's comfortable for you. Do not waste your currency in the Shrine of the Omnissiah until you're at level 30. Refine your build, max it out. Do the harder levels and harder difficulties and stuff, and just have fun in the Warhammer 40K Darktide. And that is going to do it for this beginner guide. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope it helped you out. And on that note, we are going to leave the video there. If you enjoyed it, leaving a like is appreciated. If you wish to support me further as a creator, there are links in the description. Let me know your thoughts about the video in the comments. And if you want to watch more, you can click the video on screen. All support on the channel is greatly appreciated, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching.